Hey guys, welcome to the Canada Puck Podcast, a weekly recap of what's going on in the world of sports, specifically in hockey, and even more specifically, we look at just Canada, nothing else. I'm your co-host, Nick. You can find me on Twitter at ProfitNick, and I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host,
Brent, on Twitter at Fourth Line Sports. Appreciate the badge point, but kind of beside you now, am I not? No?
No, we're like double stacked, but we're like both sized. So normally on Skype, Gramps like this giant video, and I'm just this little floating head. And now I've got it so that we're grids, like we're equally proportioned.
That's exciting stuff, because what I see on my end is we're still getting drunk in a park, which the irony is not lost on me, because it's something we do all the time, but we're grown-ups now. So now we have to get drunk virtually in a park.
Yes. Well,
Thanks for nothing, COVID.
Yeah, it's frowned upon a little bit when there's like drunk men in the park, people come talk to you. When you're kids, just chuckle, laugh it off, little scamps.
Yeah. Get out of here, cops. We're just having a good time.
Oh man.
Little different these days. Yeah, a little different.
Oh man. So there you go. There's our friendly banter. So you can tell that we're close, deep friends. We're not just faking this for an internet show. Beautiful. This is your first show. We got headlines we're going to run through. The one game that every Canadian team has played and make vast conclusions based on the play we've seen so far. Maybe we have some hot, takes. So we'll get to gambling advice. We have some FanDuel. I have some Tim Hortons cards we can open. Opened up like a couple packs. I was very disappointed, so I just stopped. So we can do that. Maybe we'll look at boobs.
I am excited to report the Babe of the Week is sorted. In fact, the Babe of the Week for the next few weeks is sorted. And those of you who tuned in at the end of last year will recognize that we changed the format a little bit. Rather than blanketing any babe, we thought we were going to be on theme. And we were going to say we're going to do Ice Girls. However, I've taken it a step further, and we're not just doing Ice Girls anymore. I thought we could open the door to Ice Girls / female hockey player. So, lifting the curtain a little bit, I think that for the next few weeks, we're all going to have a little bit of blood rushing from our brain to nether parts of our region, and I think we're all going to be better off because of it.
Oh, 100%. Don't ever listen to your brain, especially when it comes to like gambling or hockey, because you know nothing. We're all like Jon Snow. We all know nothing. But in tradition, I'm going to pull up the standings. I'm going to go to the league on NHL.com. We're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. We're going to make fun of Canadian teams as we see them. Ha! Look at that. 25th overall right now. It's probably where they stay all season. Ottawa Senators. They suck.
I was a little surprised. So, Philip Forsberg was the goalie of record in the season opener. A little taken back. Not that, like, to me, if you're going to roll 1A, 1B, I can accept that. But to me, Cam Talbot is probably the goalie you want to go with. You've got a young team that's probably going to have some growing pains as they continue to blossom. You probably want a veteran netminder who's got a little bit more, a little longer in the tooth to try and protect their own end. But they went with Philip Forsberg. Obviously didn't pay off in the season. I'm excited to see how this actually plays out, because if they continue to just shoot themselves in the foot, unfortunately, we will not be peeing on any underpasses anytime soon.
One note on that, I do think Cam Talbot's a little bit banged up right now. So he's dealing with an injury. That's why he's not in net. So it is just one of those things. I think you also saw a little bit in that first game against Buffalo. A little continuity, right? There were some big shakeups in Ottawa. It might take them 5-10 games to kind of get going, get their wheels treading, kind of find that chemistry, find what works, what doesn't work, right? They're going to have some high moments, some low moments coming up here. And against Buffalo, like, you can try, right? You get one of those trap games, right? When you're playing kind of one of those bottom 5 teams in the league, perennial 5 teams, like, you really care? Do you really try that hard? Probably not. So I'm thinking more probably of a trap game. Hopefully we stay bounce back from them maybe tonight. But I think it's Anton Forsberg, actually, not Philippe Forsberg. I don't know who Philippe Forsberg is. He's in net tonight against the Maple Leafs. So maybe
big fuck up. Haven't had enough coffee, maybe. It's definitely Anton Forsberg. Philip Forsberg. Nashville Predators. I don't know. But he's not working yet.
Is that who it is? Philippe Forsberg. No. Is that the
Sure, Forsberg is the guy played in Nashville.
Is that the Forsberg they have? Who's the other Forsberg? Who's the really good guy? Peter Forsberg?
Peter Forsberg.
He has such soft hands. All right. So we scroll up a little bit. Ottawa Senators lost their only game to Buffalo. That's it. Give them some run room. Give the kids some time to play. Is that kind of where we're at?
I was just expecting more energy on night one. To get basically outplayed by Buffalo.
They might also, and like I don't injuries. Is there something called injuries? Where do we see injuries? Aren't they missing like their top defenseman too? It's just Cam Talbot. All right.
I didn't know that about Talbot though. I guess that makes sense why you're rolling Anton Forsberg, but still, I don't know. Little disappointing start to the season. I will say that. Like fucking Buffalo, man. Buffalo. Name me 2 Buffalo Sabres, Mick.
Tag Thompson and Owen Powers.
Wow. You know what? I can't even fact check you on that because I don't know 2 Buffalo Sabres, and that was kind of the point.
All right, sweet. So we keep rolling up. Man, the Sharks suck. 0-3 to start the season. Well, sucks. All right, look at this. We have to go all the way to 20 seconds, and they're only 22nd because they only allowed 2 goals. They only have a negative 2 goal differential instead of the 3 goal differential that the Senators have. The Vancouver Canucks. They looked hot. They were flying. They were going to beat the Oilers. Boo Earns. Oilers suck. Then what happened?
Then what happened, indeed. You know what? I didn't even watch the game. I was just following along. Check the advanced metrics the next day. Maybe if you two didn't, maybe you have a different perspective. But my God, what happened with the Canucks power play? 1 for 8? Like, that's some shit, man. You score 2 goals in the first 3 minutes, and then you go 1 for 8 on the power play? Come on now.
That just kind of seems like Vancouver's MO, though, right? Like, just that little bit of inconsistent play bites in the end. That is not a great number. They have, you know what the problem is? They spent all their money this offseason on Ilya Mikheyev, and he only kills penalties. He doesn't get power play goals, so fudged up.
Fuck that.
If it was the other way, if they were like, if the other team had 8 power plays, they potentially could have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shorthanded goals. Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit at that point. Could you imagine? I would like to see that. Now you've set the bar too high, Mick. I want to see an Ilya Mikheyev shorthanded hat trick in 1 game. That's the new standard. That's what I want.
Oh, he'd be worth the $4 million for show. All right, cool. So we still make fun of, like, I don't know why I'm bitter about this Mikheyev thing. We've talked now for like an hour on hockey, and I've already brought him up like 4 times. I'm just bitter by the whole thing. All right.
Grudgingly, like, I could tell your feelings are hurt. But anyways, we'll be okay.
All right, so we get to go on the 20th overall. We get the Montreal Canadiens. Neat. Cool. What's going on with Montreal?
I have to ask, did you expect them to beat Toronto in the season opener?
Oh, I said it here. This team is dog shit. They can play. They've got some dogs. You know, if they play their style, not a terrible hockey squad. I don't know how they match up well. And if you play to their level, sure, they can get something. They're going... How many games do they play against each other? 6? In division games? Or is it
6?
4? 4 or 5?
I think it's 4 or 5, depending on the season.
They're going 4-0 against the Maple Leafs this year. Like, right now, if I'm going to tell you they're going 3-1, I don't know if the Toronto Maple Leafs are beating the Montreal Canadiens like more than once this year. I think they're going to be close affairs for some reason. They play down to the competition. Montreal always plays up. It's just kind of how it goes. It's kind of that I don't know. Did you ever watch Mad Men?
No,
you
but I
know
heard John Hamm has got a hammer.
You know, like the Don Draper meme. I don't think about you at all. Right, so I feel like every Montreal Canadiens fan, player, all they do is they sit there and they've got the Maple Leafs posters and they post hate and they say, you're the only reason that motivates me, I want to beat you, and then just casually the Maple Leafs just kind of over their shoulder like, I don't think about you at all. and exit the elevator. Just...
So I'm picturing like a bunch of like a Lonely Habs fan with a bunch of Maple Leafs pictures posted around their wall, and then all the eyes cut out, just to like that desperate layer that you need. That's what I'm picturing, and that's what it sounds like. Exactly what you're trying to describe.
My only regret is when the Leafs were up 1-0 after the first period, I didn't live bet more money that the Habs would win.
That's fair. And that
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming from puck drop. Like I was sure. So.
Like it got up to like plus 700. Like the Leafs, when they got up to 2, I think they were up 2-1. I think it went to like minus 1100. Like it was a big jump. Well, big fuck up for a guy like Mick. Normally he learns those lessons. Mick's not the type of guy to live with regret, so lesson learned for next time.
Lesson learned. Anything else? And then they lost to Detroit. I think that's what happened the other day. Hey, can't win them all.
You can't even win half of them if you're Montreal, but
I don't know why they do this. This has been my complaint for a very long time. And I realize it's your season opener. Why did it take 27 minutes for the puck to be dropped in this hockey game? If you want to do a big celebration, cool, great. Pick 1 or 2 times a year. I find that this happens just frequently with hockey broadcasts, and it's absolutely atrocious. Other sports have big ceremonies before games. Did you know that? In football games, they'll have guys come out on the field, they'll have kids come out, like they'll honor veterans. But when the kickoff, it's set for a time for broadcasting rights, and that's what it is. I don't understand why the NHL continually shows these like belabored, long, drawn out opening ceremonies. Again, maybe it's the opening what you have to give to them, but like I hate it. I absolutely hate that I put on a hockey game at 5:00 and I have to watch guys in suits, Carey Price notwithstanding, walk out onto the ice. Like, why do I need to see Jonathan Drouin come out and give me a wave and then walk back into the dressing room? Like, why?
Your frustration is valid, and I feel the exact same way. First pitch in baseball is first pitch. If the first pitch is being thrown at 10:07, the pitcher's on the mound throwing a pitch at 10:07. Same thing. You want to turn on Red Zone? They have a countdown, and when the countdown's over, football's on, and it's right at 11. Well, 11 Mountain Time. So, yeah, no, you're as always on point. I don't think that the NHL has the wherewithal to really cater things to a viewership. And look no further. I didn't want to have to do this early in the season, but look no further than their goddamn blackout broadcasting rights, where if you get any other league pass, you can watch most games. If I get the NHL league pass, I cannot watch any NHL Canadian team. It just makes zero sense. The
Columbus game the other night, they were playing the Lightning? Unviewable. Like, no idea where the broadcast is. I know some people that have like pirated feeds have NHL, and they both mention it. They're like, "Oh, I can't watch the Blue Jackets game." There's just no broadcast of that game. So who's showing that game? Like, I realize the guy that has the pirated feed probably shouldn't throw stones, but
God bless the internet, Mick. Oh, before we move on from Montreal, we didn't really talk about Montreal. I did want to give Martin St. Louis credit, because he seems to have unlocked something with Cole Caulfield. That guy against the Leafs looked spectacular. And I'm expecting more of the same. They're kind of cut from the same cloth, those two. Like, undersized, skilled forward, knack for scoring goals. I expect the sky's the limit with Caulfield now.
And Suzuki, too. Like, if you want to call out outstanding players, I think those two kids do have very high potential, and they're going to score goals. Because somebody has to score goals because they're on the ice. They're the only skilled players. It's bound to happen. So, yeah, look forward to that. But I noticed that on the broadcast. We'll see what is Caulfield's potential under St. Louis. Oh, no, at 19th, the Maple Leafs. Well, that's a plot twist I didn't see coming. Holy smokes. Terrible broadcast. They got beat up. Apparently they looked better. Again, regional blackouts. Didn't see the Leafs game against the Capitals, apparently they played a little bit more physical at home, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson showed up. So if that can't fire you up, nothing can.
So wait, The Rock was at the game?
Yeah, he showed up and gave some. Apparently, no one knew. He just randomly was in house, and he got a "Go Leafs, Go" chant going. And afterwards, Austin Matthews said he was very excited because he didn't know The Rock was in the building. So
Interesting. Again, as far as celebrity appearances go, I'm going to rank them. I'm going to give you my definitive top 3. Coming in at number 3, definitely The Rock. I wish I would have seen it live. Coming in at number 2, I forget who the rapper was, but do you remember last season when the guy in Florida was banging somebody in the, like, one of the suites? But it wasn't even, like, discreet. Like, it was pretty, like, obnoxious. Number 2. And number 1, it was blonde Rachel McAdams at a Leafs game. This was probably, like, 15 years ago. Maybe even 16 years ago. But I remember the cameo appearance of Rachel McAdams watching the Leafs live. Something I will never forget. Every time I go to the hockey game now, my bar is I want to see Rachel McAdams, and I've been disappointed ever since.
Well, I played a very dangerous game here. I started typing blonde into my search bar, and I'm posting this video on the internet, so nothing popped up though. That's good. I'm not seeing it. I've seen a Boston one. Yep. Oh, maybe that one? Maybe this one? Yeah, anyways, let's back to the standings. Cool. There you go. So Maple Leafs. Rachel McAdams and The Rock. Lead.
And was it Future? Maybe it was Future. I can't remember who the rapper was.
Oh, the rapper. That's right. Yeah, good times. Good times, Florida. Let's see if we keep scrolling up. Let's see, Tampa Bay, Colorado, Anaheim. Only good teams now. Oh, at 14th, we get the Edmonton Oilers. The other half. It's really hard to do when they played a game. I feel like we already kind of talked about this game. Connor McDavid looks really good, so great.
There was never a doubt, but once again, and I'm going to sound the alarms, everybody here in Edmonton, every Edmonton Oilers fan is celebrating. My God, we came back. Good for you. But once again, your success is premised off of Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. So when they run cold, the team will run cold. Say what you want about the Sporting Cast, it's better, yada, yada, yada. 7 points came between Draisaitl and McDavid. I don't remember how many of them were power play points, but I know they got at least 2 power play goals. So factoring all that in, my initial reaction was, this was great. I'm glad they won. And that was immediately met with, my fuck, what happens if Connor McDavid gets charged into the boards again, or if their performances just slide, because sustaining this over 82. We're not going to see, 4 times 82? We're not going to see 330 points from Connor McDavid. So, I don't know. Tepid reviews early.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a very small sample size. I feel like we're like week 1 armchair quarterbacks here, trying to understand how the Atlanta Falcons beat the Dallas Cowboys, and you're like, I don't know, Marcus Mariota. Apparently he's a dog. Dog wins fights, so.
I don't even know. The upset that stuck with me was the Falcons upsetting the Browns week, I think it was. And that only stuck with me because I had money on it. So, can't say that I'm a connoisseur of Atlanta Falcons football.
I don't think they played the Cowboys. I was just throwing out a bad team and a good team, but I don't know if they're that good. The Calgary Flames are at 13th. Is there any other teams we haven't talked about? Oh, yeah, the Winnipeg Jets. Is that it? 2 more? Calgary Flames won their season openers. First time since 2009. That's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. What's not embarrassing was the product on the ice, because that was kind of better than expected debut for a lot of Flames. But, personal note, I was downtown on Thursday night. Was it Thursday? Yeah, it was Thursday night. And downtown was alive. It kind of had like this playoff atmosphere to it. People in jerseys, everybody trying to get as many beers into them before they went to the game. Personal highlight, Mick, and this is something that you and I joked about in university. I have to bring this to your attention because I think that part of you is just going to break. I saw three best friends on one bicycle. It wasn't a tandem bike, it was a three-person bike. And they were biking to the Flames game in jerseys. And my life was just immediately filled with regret. I know that we don't live in this place, but we talked about this for years. And I couldn't help but just feel a smidge of remorse that we actually didn't follow through with finding a three-person bike or a four-person bike.
Yeah, that was a screw up. Like, that definitely would have been a fun investment. And, like, then I guess you're the quirky guy with a three-person bike. In a bigger city, it plays as just, you're fine. But, like, in a small town, you're just the weirdos.
I mean, the shoe fits. And
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to ride a three-person bike, and I thought about it all night, and I was like, God damn it. So, anyways, I'm going to keep my eyes open on Kijiji for one of these three-person bikes. And I thought, one of these days, maybe you, me, will recruit somebody else. Maybe that could be one of our prizes this year. Win a bike ride with Mick and Grant. You get to ride in the middle, and Mick and Grant pedal you to a Flames game. That's kind of fun.
And maybe I'm showing my age a little bit here. I don't want to flex too hard, but as soon as you started saying that, I was like, you know what'd be even better? One of those little, like, golf cart bikes. So you could, like, sit side by side. You got, like, stuff, like, you could have your drinks. And then you're just, like, comfortable. And, like, your caboose isn't hurt by, like, a bike seat or anything like that.
You know where they have those? Waterton. So I'm going to, and this is the downtime. I'm gonna call Waterton after this. I'm gonna say, can we buy one of your bikes?
Yeah, so there's like one sitting in a repair shop or something like that. I think it'd be fun. I've always had fun in Waterton being on those bikes. I almost killed a family once. I was eating ice cream, and the person I was with, I was like, hey, you should hit the brakes. We're like coming down this hill, and like my hand's covered in ice cream. And they didn't respond. And we just kept going down the hill to the point where I had to like throw my ice cream and like slam on the brakes, and like the thing almost tipped sideways. But it wasn't traumatic. Like, I'd still do it again. It was fun, so.
The real tragedy in all of this is the ice cream. I don't care about the family. What kind of flavors did we dump out here?
I'm a boring, like maybe vanilla. Although, vanilla is actually a really nice flavor. It's very strong. Like, it's expensive. Like, you have to buy vanilla at the store for baking. It's really pricey. But we just, like, have this label, like, it's bad for some reason. Vanilla's a very fine flavor. So it's probably, like, vanilla, maybe cookie dough or something like that.
Right. A little wild with the cookie dough.
Yeah.
I agree. Vanilla, underrated flavor. But I encourage you, if you see it, next time, and there's a few places around town, get a custard or a sweet cream ice cream. It's basically just vanilla on steroids. It's delicious. Luke's down in Bridgeland, they do a sweet cream, and then there's another place in Bowness called Abby's Creations. They have a custard. Delicious. Life-changing.
Solid. Is this as we're in Alberta, the best iteration of the Flames and Oilers? So both these rosters potentially are Stanley Cup favorites. Like, we pulled up Stanley Cup odds. They're probably less than 20-1 favorites. Are these the two best iterations of the Calgary Flames Edmonton Oilers that we've seen since the millennium?
Without question, the Edmonton Oilers, this year's Edmonton Oilers is the best of the century, without question. I was kind of debating as I was saying it, the Pronger and Pekka years where they went to the Stanley Cup in 2006. But even then, I don't think that they have the depth that they do now. So I would say yes for the Oilers. I'm not, at face value, on paper. Go ahead.
Sorry, together. So, like, the best Oilers and the best Flames at the same time, right? So the best kind of...
Yeah, without question.
Yeah.
The only thing that I was going to say was last year's version of the Flames was probably better than this year's version. But that's just on paper. Maybe if opening night was any indication, we're going to see good things from them all year.
Yeah, until they grow tired of listening to Daryl Sutter. So, it's kind of how life works. Good job. Cool. Alright. Both these teams have been to the Stanley Cup Finals, and we're making proclamations like they're the greatest iterations in the last 22 years. Cool. Winnipeg Jets finish off at the top of the rankings at 11th this week. They played one game. Congratulations, Winnipeg. I feel like they beat someone of consequence, no?
Was it... God.
Oh, there it is. Rangers? Yeah, they beat the Rangers 4-1. That's a significant win. Good.
So circumstances probably favored the Jets in that one. I think the Rangers were on the second night of a back-to-back. They beat Minnesota the night. And I think they also even played their I think Shesterkin started on the Wednesday night. And then, who was their backup? Anyways, backup was in it against the Jets. So maybe a wonky pedestal that they're standing on right now, atop the Canada podcast stand.
Oh yeah, Yaroslav Halak. All right, well, good job, Winnipeg.
Because where did Gorgiev end up? He signed in.
He was
Colorado.
Did he sign or was he traded? He's now in Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado.
Yeah.
Well, Winnipeg, the Bowness era is off to a good start. I'm not ready to proclaim them the best in the Central Division. Yeah, it all plays out.
Yeah, yeah. I was very high after our last podcast. Well, on the Canadian team, not just because of drug use, and like I'm still feeling confident, but I was like a sample size. Like maybe give me 10 games before we make any proclamations. Do you have any hot takes before we gotta get into our other segments? I have 2.
I was gonna. I could have one big one. I was gonna do 2, but
okay.
They're kind of late. So you go ahead.
Well, I'll call that one of my hot takes is we see the Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers battle it out, first, second, maybe third, depending where the other teams fall. Best iterations of these two rosters together reunite this rivalry. That'll be my first hot take. My second one will be the Ottawa Senators will not see a record of better than 3 wins through the first 10 games. So I think it's going to take a little while for them to develop the chemistry. Then things are going to get rolling. We're going to see how they play behind the 8 ball, but I don't know. I think we're going to see a slow start for the Ottawa Senators.
Interesting perspective. I was expecting the other thing with the other end of the spectrum with the Senators, and I was expecting them to kind of, use their youth and exuberance to energize themselves early this season. But I trust I apparently don't have a good read on them. I didn't even know that fucking Cam Talbot was hurt. I didn't even know Anton Forsberg's name was Anton. I did, but I fucked it up, and I'm embarrassed about it. But the thing that sucks about the Edmonton Oilers and Calgary Flames both being as good as they are is that at best, this is a second-round playoff matchup. It really fucking sucks. This is what's stupid about the NHL playoff landscape. It just makes no sense. Like, if the best 2 teams are the best 2 teams in the Western Conference, why would they play themselves in the second round? And that's not to say that they're going to be, but it just, I don't know. It weakens the playoffs. And, again, we don't have to have this conversation. Teams have played 1 game, except for the San Jose Sharks, who've lost 3. Most teams have played 1, maybe 2 games. So, but my hot take, I don't know where these goalies are coming from, but Billy Husso was starting with the Red Wings the other night. Was it Husso? Yeah, it was Husso. And shut out the Habs. I was like, interesting. I don't know how all of a sudden these backup or 1B goalies have emerged as starters. It's just this fascinating trend to me. What I was going to lump in with that was Connor Hellebuck, who was off last year's down year, is going to be the Vezina Trophy winner at the end.
Cool. Yeah, I think he can bounce back. We saw him play at an all-world level a couple of years ago when they were kind of favorites to win the Stanley Cup. The deep playoff runs that they did. I could see it. I could see him coming back. Lots of talent there. Well, defensively, maybe they're not as good in Winnipeg, so. Looking at you. Who's my guy? Halona? Let's go Halona. Hinola, maybe.
Total random aside on European last names. Have you heard of this Soderbergh kid with the Detroit Red Wings? Neither had I until yesterday. I got sucked into the Red Wings rabbit hole on Twitter. I think it's Eric Soderberg.
Okay.
I think he's 23. Maybe I think he's 23. And not super young. Like somebody who should have popped up on the radar. But anyways, Detroit's super high on him. And anytime Steve Yzerman brings somebody into the fold, I was going to say Stevie Y, and then it came out as Steve Yzerman. I'm not Don Cherry here, but anytime Stevie Y brings somebody into the fold, I'm going to pay attention. And the guy scored the first goal of the season. It came in the third period. He opened the scoring for the Red Wings. So Soderberg, name worth paying attention to. I don't even know if he's used up his rookie status. Maybe he's a guy who to look for a Calder Trophy rate.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like typical Steve Yzerman of just like finding random Europeans, and he's like, oh look, he's gonna be great and hold the Norris Trophy down for the next like 2 decades. Cool. You want to do gambling or fantasy first?
I don't know. What feels right to you?
I feel like let's do FanDuel. FanDuel's fun. We like FanDuel here on the Canada Puck podcast. Now, I was thinking about this while I was out walking the dog this morning. Do I change my roster or do I not change my roster? I couldn't remember what kept screwing me over last year.
I think...
Because I feel like we talk and we tinker. So you think I should change it?
No, I think you change it and then you regret it.
Okay, hands off. I'm not touching it. I'm just going to tell you what I did. I'm pretty happy with what I put together here. Bold strategies I took here. Basically, I went back to the well, what worked last year. Also, I have to figure out how to make you a friend, and then we can challenge each other head to head, and we could play, and that might be more fun. And then we can actually keep track. Versus right now, I'm in a 10-person 50-50. I don't know if it's actually going to go or not. So
I fucked this up. His name's Elmer Soderberg. Soderblom, sorry. Anyways.
Okay.
Fact checking myself. This is why we need that handsome guy. Sorry.
Morency?
Getting back into FanDuel.
Hey Morency, what did we screw up today? And he's just like, everything. His name is Antoine Forsberg to start off. Okay.
30 seconds in, you guys fucked up.
Yeah,
Good.
Oh, good. Excellent. The Canucks actually were 1 for 7 on the power play, not 1 for 8. God, what the? No. So if you look on my screen, you notice my players for my FanDuel lineup. I think I've spent every dollar I have. I started in net, is that I need to win. Marc-Andre Fleury is the man. Winnipeg, the Wild of Minnesota, paid a heavy price for him. Defensively, they should be good. I consider Wild making some damage this year. Let's give me some Marc-Andre Fleury. $8,000, he better be worth it. And then I spent all the rest of my money on Connor McDavid. That was my strategy. To back up my other center, I got first-line center Boone Jenner. Our boy, maybe Grant's guy that I stole. Grant's guy, Drake Batherson, at $6,200 with Evander Kane at $6,800. I thought those were a good pairing. Like cheap. Evander Kane plays with McDavid. They're going to put up some points. On defense, I went Colton Parayko for the Blues at $41. Rasmus Sandin, $3,800. So cheap for a guy that plays. I mean, he plays third-line minutes, but I don't know. Maybe he could get physical, score a goal. Maybe he plays on the power play at some point. And then I went bargain shopping, and I said, who are guys that are worth about $5,000 that I recognize their name? Andre Palat at $5,600 for the Devils, and Anthony Mantha, $5,000. I know he scored the game winner last night, or he scored a goal last night, so going back-to-back probably isn't great. But Capitals play Montreal, so if there's ever time to score Anthony Mantha, is now.
I like it, and the temptation on a Saturday night is always take Connor McDavid and build around him. And I know that this has no bearing whatsoever, but every time you and I both chose Connor McDavid last year, he absolutely shit himself. So I had a feeling you were going Connor McDavid well, and I thought I would let you and the universe have his outstanding production. And I've gone in a completely different direction today. But I think there's one overlap, because You and I chatted about it last week, how we both love Rasmus Sandin. I talked about it, how his actual output didn't match his underlying metrics, making him like a natural progression candidate this year, and I expect him to deliver good things. So I also have Rasmus Sandin on my roster. Next to him, I actually have Justin Falk, who plays top line menace power play, puck moving defenseman with the They get Columbus on the St. Louis is at home. So it kind of made sense to me that Falk's going to be put in position to score. 5,400 and 3,800. I think these are bargain defensemen who will put up fantasy points.
How did Falk end up in St. Louis?
Oh God, we're going stump the Schwab early this season.
Okay, I'm on it. You keep talking. I was just like, maybe you knew, because in my mind I'm like, oh, Carolina, perfect, great. I love Justin Falk. Oh.
So I'm pretty sure he was traded. Like, he spent last year with St. Louis. I think it was the off season before. He got traded for. You know what? You dig into it. I'm gonna run through it. I went with the Penguin stack, and I've taken a hard stance against the Lightning today. Second night of a back-to-back with travel. They started Vasilevsky last night, leaving, I think, Brian Elliott is still the backup there, to basically try and quell a effective Penguins attack, as we saw on opening night. Sidney Crosby, Jake Gensel, and in net Tristan Jarry. I kind of got the holy trinity of Penguins. I was going to add Chris Letang, but his salary just didn't seem like it was worth it. Both guys, Crosby and Gensel, skate on the top line. They'll have lots of opportunity to score together. Jarry's going to have to... He's been good at home throughout his career. Lightning, second night of back-to-back 3 games. I think all of which have been on the road. So seems like a good spot for the Penguins. I also wanted to go out with the Bruins, but I was kind of limited with the Bruins that I could select. So I just ended up going with David Krejci and Craig Smith up front. Defenseman we talked about. That leaves 2 utility players. I was kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point, and I thought San Jose and Chicago, there's going to be a whole shitload of goals. And, like, I was thinking maybe I'll even load up on a few players. I didn't. I ended up just taking Tyler Johnson on the Blackhawks, $3,800. Power play time, there's only so many goals that can be scored in Chicago. At least some of them are going to come off Tyler Johnson's stick. And Claude Giroux, he has a knack for coming up in big games. Not that this is a big game, but Saturday night, basically at home. He's a Southern Ontario kid. I suspect he's probably going to have family in the building. I like Claude Giroux, 6,600.
Solid. I found Flip Forsberg. I found a picture of him. He has a cool mustache.
Is that cool?
That's my takeaway. In my mind, and maybe I like, do other people share this? But in my mind, Hockey Night in Canada is kind of the NHL's like Sunday football, right? Like that is their time to shine. It is like, not to use the expression, but like it's for the boys. That's in my mind, like hockey on Saturday is like the most pure natural form of this league, and it's what everyone should kind of thrive for versus like a weekday game. Maybe it's not as exciting, right? You got the whole day to prepare. You could go to the game, get drunk. You can have parties. You can have people. Like it's just built naturally around hockey. Other people not share this opinion?
You're again bang on, Mick. I will say this: very few nights do I look forward to watching hockey this early in the season, and that is just because there's football, there's baseball playoffs. There's other research to do for Sunday events. But on Saturday night, I prioritize hockey. Maybe it's a learned behavior. I don't know. Maybe a psychologist could help me dig into this because this is just what we did growing up. But to me, Saturday night is the premier hockey night. And I look no further than the schedule as validation that that's what it actually is. Because every Saturday, you get a minimum of 10 games. Normally, it's like 12 or 13 games throughout the day. But the Saturday night slate is what everybody's tuned into.
Cool. All right. Well, I mean, I knew you were with me. But anyone else? Is that weird? Other notes: Justin Falk on September 2019, so a while ago, was traded to St. Louis for really nothing. They kind of swapped picks. He got Joel Edmondson, and then the Blues signed him to a 7-year, $45 million deal. So I think Falk was just a casualty of the cap in Carolina. They're too good. They got too much talent. Rob Brindamore makes them jerks. They do that thing where they run from one side to the other. Carolina hockey, ladies and gentlemen.
The Storm Surge. They have appropriated hurricanes, and that is there's a surge at the end of every. Is it every game or every win?
I think it's wins. Probably home wins. I don't know if they do it on the road. So
that would be the ultimate disrespect, though. And I think that would be even more funny if, like, they really wanted to embrace the bunch of jerks moniker, only do it on the road and do it after every game, just so that they start riots. And you know what? I would buy a Hurricanes jersey and I would follow them around, and I'd be part of it. Like I would.
Oh, going to a Flames, Oilers, Canucks, Jets game, specifically in your Hurricanes jersey, just in case they win, so you can stay there and try and like get into a brawl and like be like, woo! Yeah, okay, that's very good. I like it.
If we had money, if maybe you won $70 million and you could fund this for us, but we should just start buy a bus and we just follow the Hurricanes around everywhere they go. Everybody gets a Hurricanes jersey and we do a Storm Surge in the crowd.
You probably would need like $70 million to become like a hardcore fan, like a fanatic of like a hockey team, right? Because it's probably a pricey proposition. I like to think that I'm close to the level in my life that I could become a hardcore CFL fan, and I could just follow a CFL team around, like tailgate every Saturday or whatever they have their games, right? Their Wednesday night games randomly and stuff like that. Like I like to think I'm like pretty close to that level in my life where I could just become a CFL super fan. I don't want to, but I could, and that makes me happy.
At $12 a ticket to get in, I would say you're pretty much there.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. All I gotta do is just drive around Canada to watch football. Sounds like a thing. There you go.
I got a hibachi, so if this is leaving the station, let me know. I'll go dig it out of the garage.
All right, there we go. So I'm gonna save that. FanDuel, you are being closed for today. Good luck to you. Betting. So courtesy of PlayAlberta.com. You want to gamble online, but kind of want like a really bunked website that randomly just suspends action because the bookkeepers can't keep up with what's going on live in the game. You want odds that don't seem like they're as good as other sites. PlayAlberta.com is for you.
I'm sure most people are a little disappointed that more of their money doesn't go to the government, and you will be donating to a government whose premier believes that the most marginalized community in the world right now is the unvaccinated. So
prayers and thoughts goes out to those poor souls. All right, cool. Well, cool. PlayAlberta.com is giving us these odds. I don't know why I say it. No one cares. If you care, if someone cared at the government, come at me, bro. I told you where I'm at. Cool. Gambling advice. I think we call this segment
Bettor Advice.
Solid. You know, that was one of those ones that just came off the tongue one day and stayed. We take 100 theoretical dollars. We bet each and every week. We keep tabs. Let's see how we do. I got my little notebook from last year. I was going to go back and kind of at some point in the podcast, but I was enjoying talking to Grant, so I wasn't like looking too much. How did I finish the season last year? I feel like I was pretty good.
Yeah, you did well. I did not do so well. I can't even remember what held me up, but one of those chaotic seasons where I don't even think I have much momentum throughout. But I will do a better job of record keeping. I have a spreadsheet. Where'd my pen go? Got my pen. I got my piece of paper. So as soon as we're done recording, this is going straight into a spreadsheet, and we're going to be tracking it this year.
Cool. So I think my last one here, $828 I was up last year. So had you just followed my advice to a T and got $100, you could walk away with $800. I'm not guaranteeing that this year, but if I really suck, like give me a couple weeks, you can always fade me and make money off me. Like it's a win-win. If I'm hot, get on the trade. If not, fade me. It's perfect. The playoffs, not so good. I hate being down early in the season, but you know what I love? When sportsbooks want you to get back into it, they want to lure you in there, they give you a free bet. Grant, guess what I found in my account on the Canada Puck Bettor Advice today? Free $100 to gamble with. And you got one too, so that's pretty exciting. So this one's off the records. You can go nuts. You can throw it all in the air. You can take a 12-team underdog parlay go for the kill shots and say I'm going to win $150,000 today.
Sometimes it's a little funny how much we are on the same page, or at least how much you live in my mind, because that's exactly what I've done. I have one wager today.
All right, I'm gonna queue this up. I'm gonna see what happens if we click every underdog. So one wager, I have 4. So mine are, I didn't parlay them together. 11 teams. I'll roll through them quickly. I went with a couple underdogs. Senators, 3.1. $25, as well as the Tampa Bay Lightning, both underdogs in that affair. Although Grant is heavily favoring the Pittsburgh Penguins, I went with the Stanley Cup champions, or Stanley Cup finalists, as it were, at 2.45. So $25 on both those affairs. They pay out about $77 and $61 respectively on those two accounts. Grant, what are you coming at me with?
So, we haven't seen too many of these so far this season. That is overtime games. I think, if memory, it was just the Anaheim-Seattle game on Wednesday night, I believe, is the only overtime game so far. But Shootout Saturday is a real thing, something that we track. I have 3 overtime bets.
Nice.
Let me go through this. Dallas-Nashville, this is the one that I'm highest on, and a lot of real money is going to be wagered on this outcome. 3.1 are the odds, so plus 210. That this game goes to, or no, it was 4.1, so plus 310 that this one goes overtime. Second night of back-to-back, 2 defensive teams. I expect that chances will be at a premium, and I think that one ekes into overtime. Edmonton-Calgary. Everybody who listens knows that I have an affinity for betting overtime games on Hockey Night in Canada. For me, it was kind of a no-brainer, and then maybe that's the curse that just sinks me. Edmonton, Calgary, Battle of Alberta, second. I suspect Ottawa, Toronto is not going to be close. So this is kind of one of those natural de facto Edmonton versus Calgary. Last one, a little fucked up here. And I know I'm probably going to take some flack for this one, but every week there's that one game where it's like, how the hell did this one go to overtime? And for me, tonight that game is Montreal versus Washington. Washington hasn't looked that great. Montreal, they look good against at least they came away with a victory against the Leafs. I suspect that they keep things close. I'm betting all $100 on this for a potential payout of $8,920. Put you in a chokehold real early.
All right, so I'm scraping by, hoping to hit 2 of my picks just to get back to the $100, so I can start off on a good foot, so I'm not screwing myself next week. Grant's just trying to kill me. Cool stuff. So underdogs, Sens, Tampa. I also have Nashville, 2.05. $25 on all these picks, by the way. And then finally, I have an over 6.5 goals in Edmonton, Calgary, Battle of Alberta. That one only returns $42.50, so not as high. Hopefully, I'm hitting the Sens pick and maybe that one. Be up at least a little bit going into next week. And Grant took that free bet, and he's like, I don't want $100 in my account next week. I want $8,000. Side note, on playalberta.com, I picked every underdog. My odds are 59,880 to 1. So I went to bet $100, and the site automatically reduced my bet to $1 because the maximum payout was too high.
What kind of bogus site is Play Alberta? They just don't like paying out money? Because what would that be? I guess that would be 1-point-something million at a $100 bet. So you move the decimal over, so it'd be like $5 million. And they're just like, we can't do this. We just don't have that much money here in Alberta. Yeah, but that's not going to happen. These picks are ludicrous. Let me have this, Play Alberta. I got nothing going for me.
Even if you get what do I have to get rid of to get? Okay, so at 11,000, will you still bet? No, that's still too much. You don't want to pay me $50,000. Stupid website. All right, well, Play Alberta, you had a chance, you blew it.
Yeah, you fucked up, Play Alberta, big time.
That's it. So if one day FanDuel come to Alberta, and then I won't have to use you anymore. Stupid website.
But I do kind of I like your sentiment. I like your Preds pick. I'm not sold on the Lightning. We're definitely opposing that one. At least one of us is probably going to walk away happy because either presumably the Lightning win or presumably the Ends have a good showing and my fantasy team does already.
There you go. Sweet. Cool. So with that, I think that wraps up everything we have to do. Takes like 50 minutes. Nice stuff. Now what?
But Canada Puck Podcast would not be Canada Puck Podcast without our babe of the week. We are going to the eastern part of the Americas, and we are looking at a Boston College standout. Her Instagram handle, LiveFin19. That's LIVFIN19. Olivia Finacciaro. Finacciaro? You know what? I'm done with that. But on and off the ice, LiveFin is one of the premier babes of Canada Puck lore. You gotta tolerate. She's apparently in love, and good for her. That's exciting. But LiveFin19 is our babe of the week. Shall we?
Damn you for finding love.
Didn't even give us a chance.
Didn't even give us a chance. But very, very attractive young lady. Congratulations. Good job. I hope nothing good happens to Boston sports ever. So
included in that, Boston College Eagles, who I assume are probably roughly the equivalent of the Bruins and just hated by everybody.
I think so. I think that's just how it works. So there you go. Sweet. That wraps it up. Good stuff. Ready for first. Kind of a late show, really. Like, we're not going to draw conclusions. Nothing really exciting happened, right?
No, you know what? I'm going absolute. I'm saying Connor Hellebuyck, Vezina Trophy winner. Elmer Soderblom, Calder Trophy winner. And Edmonton and Calgary in the Western Conference Final. Those are my absolute predictions. I'm jumping right into the deep end. I'm not tiptoeing. I'm going to win $8,900 betting on overtime ties, and all three of those things are happening.
Sweet. Yeah, I was thinking, I had this feeling the other day, I don't know if it'll come true. We've seen a lot of favorites. Tampa Bay has been favored the last couple of years. The Avs have been favored the last couple of years. They won the last couple of cups. I think we need a long shot. I think this is one of those long shots, like St. Louis season. So, independent of how the teams are looking in November, December, I think we're going to see, like, maybe I'm going to pull up the futures board one week, and I think I'm just going to splatter picks on those kind of those, like, random long shots and those teams, those good teams that aren't playing that well. So I think we're going to see some kookiness this year in this season, or in this league.
I like it. I dig it. Because, hypothetically, you go, like, the 20 to, let's say, 75 range, like 20 to 1 to 75 to 1 range. Pick 10 teams, $10 each. They'll come out ahead.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. $100. Win 100, potentially $700 on the table? Sounds nice. I like it. Alright, well, my voice hurts. I had a cold all week, so that's where I'm at.
I'm feeling a little reckless now, actually. I've got myself into a frenzy here. I'm going to try and not blow my money in the excitement of the moment on a whole bunch of reckless bets. But that being said, as always, it was a pleasure. Excited to see what the next week of hockey brings, and we will be back next week, barring any unforeseen circumstances, with what will hopefully be a weekly edition of the Canada Puck Podcast.
Cool. Well, without that, I think the final thing we have to say is, party on, Grant.
Party on.